Our last session, we added a handle to our pinch pot mug. In this session, we're going to carve our design to finish it off. First thing I'm going to do is divide up my mug into even parts so I have a place to put all of the patterns I'm going to use. I'm using a needle tool to do this, but you could also do this with a pencil. So now I've roughly broken this up into 4 different sections. Now each of these sections I'm going to further break up, and inside of all these different rectangular spaces I'm creating, I'm going to place some different patterns. I'm going to place a piece of foam rubber on the table so that I can work on my mug without worrying about damaging it. We have a variety of mini loop tools in our studio that we can use to carve with. I'm going to begin carving by going back over the lines that I traced to break up the sections where I'm going to place my patterns. To use a mini loop tool, just kind of scoop the loop tool into the clay a little bit and drag it along, pulling out a ribbon of clay as you go. I'm just kind of using the corner edge or side of the tool in order to pull out a thin line, and I'm not going very deep. Take your time on this so that your lines come out consistent and even. Now that I have all my sections framed out, I'm going to begin filling them in with patterns. And I haven't really come up with a design beforehand, so I'm kind of just winging it. For this first one, I'm using a round mini loop tool, and I'm just kind of carving around in a spiral shape. And in fact, I'm going to try to fit a few small spiral shapes in this section. Now that I have my spirals, I'm just going back again to kind of clean up my lines a little bit and make them more even. In this section, I'm going to be creating a chevron pattern. So I'm starting to carve in some triangle shapes going sideways, and the tool that I'm using here is triangular shaped but a little bit more elongated in one side. This one's great for getting into small areas and carving in details. Under the chevron pattern, I'm going to be carving in some concentric square shapes, almost like a squared target. In this section, I'm going to be carving some vertical bars running horizontally up above the spiral shapes. Going back to the round mini loop tool, I'm going to be carving in some concentric circles, almost like a target. In this section, I'm going to draw in some triangles and then carve half of them out. So now that I drew my lines in with a needle tool, I'm going back over it again, this time using a loop tool, and I'm going to start removing some clay little by little to try to keep it nice and even and just provide a little bit of a different level to some of the triangles that I'm carving out. Now I'm going back in again with the round tool and just kind of twisting it to produce some little pock marks or some little round divots. And now onto my last section. I'm going to create a spiraling square or an angular spiral for this one. Going over first with just the loop tool to carve the design in, and then I'll go back over it again to thicken the lines and produce a little bit more of contrast. I think one thing that'll be interesting with this mug at the end is how all these different carved marks will absorb or fill in with glaze, and how the other raised sections will kind of dispense or disperse the glaze. And I think it'll create kind of an interesting design in the end. Okay, and here's our finished piece. I'm going to go back over this and clean it up with a damp sponge before I fire it. And let's take a look how it came out with some Celadon glaze. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing.